So please open today's tutorial 10 file. So this topic is stimulation by hand. So please open. We only need the document file that is okay. So you can edit it in this file and the table. Okay. So it will be easier compared to the NLP or LP. So let's start our tutorial today. So Susan runs a pizza restaurant, and each day she needs to decide how many orders of pizza ingredients to purchase from the wholesalers. The numbers of pizza sales each day is between 1 to 7, and the frequency distribution of the pizza sales, X, is obtained using the sales from the previous 100 days. So in this table, you can see the pizza sales here, 1 to 7, and how many days of here. If you sum all these numbers up, you can have 100 days. Okay, so the summation, the total numbers, that is 100. So for this table, you have to understand that there are 5 days within the 100 days that we only have one pizza sales. And we have 12 days that within these 100 days, and we have 2 pizza sales, etc., etc. So you have to understand this table in order to do the following questions. Okay. So in these questions, you will design the simulation by hand experiment over 10 days. That is 10 trials. The random numbers from 00 to 99 have already been generated in this one, as shown in the next page. So you can have the random number list here. List 1, as you can see, there is the random number table that is provided in the questions. Okay. So question 1, that is calculates the cumulative probabilities based on historic data, assigning the corresponding 2 digits random numbers, and then fill in the following forms. So as you can see, that is 2 digits random numbers. So 0 to 99 is okay. So 3 digits, that is not necessary, right? So because that is 2 digits, so that is 0, 1, 0, 2, etc. instead of 1 or 2, right? Because that is 2 digits. Okay. So for the first table, that is the pizza sales from 1 to 7 and the total, and we have the probabilities, cumulative probabilities, etc. So very simple. The equation of probabilities is just like, because that is only one pizza sales, right? Just focus on these columns, that's fine. Okay. And then because there's numbers of days, that's 5 divided by 100. And then the result is 0.05, right? So the equation is how many days, numbers of days, divided by the total numbers of days. Alright, so you can have the probabilities. So the first cumulative probability, that is 0.05. Okay. And please add one more column for the random number assignments, because we have 2 options here. Option 1 and option 2. So why we have 2 options here is that the first option, that is starting from 0, 1, and the second option that is starting from 0, 0. So the starting point that is different. Alright. So you can choose one of them to answer. Just choose. You do not have to have two options for the answer, okay? Just choose one, and that is up to you because both options is fine, okay? So you have these two options to choose. Alright, so for the first option, if we are starting from 0, 1, right? So the upper bound that is equal to 0, 5. Upper bound. This upper bound is equal to 0.05 the probabilities also. Cumulative probabilities. Alright. But if you are choosing option 2, that is starting from 0, 0, and the upper bound is 0.4 instead of 0.5. So please be reminded. You do not have to answer both options. Just choose one that is okay. Alright. So let's continue, and then the second pizza cells that is also the same. That is 12, right? 12 numbers of days, and then divided by the total. Cumulative, that is simple, 0.05 plus 0.12, right? So that is 0.17. Random numbered assignments, as the upper bound of the previous that is 0.5, right? So the lower bound of the second one that is 0.6. And then 2.17, because 7% that is the cumulative probabilities. Alright. But for the second options of random number assignments, you start from 0.5. And then ends 16 only. That is the upper bound, right? And as you can see, for the second options, the lower bound that is equal to the first cumulative probabilities. So that is the difference between the first option and the second options. Alright, if you choose this first option, the corresponding assignments upper bound, that is the cumulative probabilities. If you are choosing option 2, so you will have the lower bound of the second columns that is equal to the first cumulative probabilities. Okay, so for the third column, that is also the same, 16, right? So just enter all these figures to here. So after you add all the probabilities, you can have 1 or 100%. Alright. So So after summations, you can have these results. So please remember that if you are doing simulation by hand, you can use the calculator to calculate it. Okay. So for this one, that is 18 to 33, etc. You can have the answer of this one. So be careful for this one, because that is only 2 digits, right? 2 digits random numbers. So 100, that is excluded. Two digits. Okay. So we can only just include 00 here. Because as you can see, the question is also states that the random numbers that is from 00 to 99. So 00 you have to include it too. So alright, here. And then for the option 2, that is 32, 33. So as you can see, the upper bound of these two, option 2 and option 1, that is different, right? But it also includes 00. So please remember that 00 you have to include the 2, right? So this is the answer of question 1. Alright. Can you all follow? Okay, so let's move on to question 2. So question 1, there is just you have to input the random number assignments and calculating the cumulative probabilities. So calculators that is needed, okay? And you can have both options, you can have 2 options to choose. Alright, so go to question 2. Question 2, that is using simulation by hand, and the first table of the first list of the random numbers here. So this one. Run a simulation with 10 trials per day to determine the numbers of pizza cells per day. Start from the top of the random number list 1. So this one is also important. What is the average of the pizza cells based on the simulation results? So the question says that you can start with the from the top of the list. Alright, because as you can see, random number to determine the numbers of pizza cells. This is also stated here. There may be more random number that you need. So only these 10, the first 10 is needed. So the others you do not have to use it. That is not necessary, okay? Only the first 10. So why you only need the 10 random number, the first 10 random numbers? Because you have 10 stimulation trials. If you have 100 stimulation trials, you you need the first 100 random numbers random numbers needed. Okay, so that how many random number needed, that is depends on the questions. And for these questions, because we only have 10 trials, so first 10 numbers that is needed. Okay. Alright, so for here, just input all the random numbers for here. So the first day, that is equal to the first random numbers, that is 21, second, that is 85, etc. Alright, so just input all these to the according columns. Okay. So that is the random number columns. And we have to find the numbers of pizza cells for the each day. Okay. So how to find it? Because we have the random number here, 21, right? So you have the random numbers assignments. From 01 to 05, that is the range, right? From 06 to 17, that is 17, that is also the range. So because that is 21, that is within the range of 18 to 33, right? This range. So for the columns here, that is only have three pizza cells, right? So here we can enter straight here. It's 18, 21 is within the range of 18 to 33, right? So we can know the corresponding numbers of pizza cells. Alright, because that is within the range of 18 to 33. If you are using the first option, the first column. So let's ignore the second options, right? We just use the first option, that's fine. Alright, so we can find the following numbers of pizza cells using this method, okay? So 85, that is within here, right? 79 to 94, so that is 6. 71, that is also the same. 71, that is within 59 to 78, right? Okay, so and so on. If you know how to find it, you can have the followings. You should get these results. Okay, can you all follow for this one? So for second questions, we have to answer the average pizza cells as well. So this is only the first step to fill in the table. So please remember to calculate the average pizza cells too. Otherwise you will lose the mark. Okay. So that is also simple. Just add all these numbers, the numbers of pizza cells together, and divide it by 10 because the total we have 10 days, right? So we can get the average. So add all these up and we can have the total average, okay? Divided by 10, that is the total one. And then we can, after calculations, you can use your calculator and then you can have the average that's 4. So please remember to calculate the average, otherwise you cannot get the full mark. So this is question 2. Do you have any questions? Oh, so this one, that is the subject, the title of this table. 10 stimulation trials, that is meaning we have 10 days here. And as you can see, the question is also stated 10 trials. Stimulation with 10 trials, right? And then we have the numbers of pizza cells per day, that is equal to this column, numbers of pizza cells. Alright. So let's move on to question 3. Okay. Question 3. Using an analytical technique, what is the theoretical average cells or the expected cells per day? So we are finding the expected value. Expected value, that is also simple. The equation that is referring to the numbers of pizza cells times the probabilities. So remember that for this one, that is not the cumulative probabilities. Alright, just the probabilities, that's fine. So similarly, that is the numbers of cells, pizza cells, that is 1 and times 0.05, and sum all these together. Summation of all these together. Okay, so for the equation here, you can like the first, alright, only have 1 pizza cells, right? And times the probability is 0.05. 0.05, alright. And plus the second one, that is the 2 pizza cells, right? That is 0.12, etc., etc., until you have all 7 pizza cells. So after you use the calculator to calculate it, you can have the final results. So the final results, that is 4.15. Okay. You can just list out the steps and then you have the final results here. This is the expected value. Can you all follow? So let's move on to question 4. Alright. Question 4, suppose Susan orders 5 pizzas ingredients on each day and makes the ingredients into pizza at the beginning of the day. So here you have the important pizza supply is fixed at 5 each day, so you only have 5 pizza supplies for each day. Okay. Each pizza is sells for $10, and the unsold pizza will be donated to local charities and receive $0. So the cost of each pizza that's $5. You have the cost, selling price, and the supplies here. That is provided in the questions, right? How would you calculate the average profits over the 10 days period stimulated in question 2? So you have to remind that unsold pizza you will bring 0 revenue. So in the days of pizza shortage, customers will just switch to another pizza store for purchasing pizza. Okay. So here you have the stimulation results in question 2, right? So firstly, we have to copy this table to question 4. Just copy it. Okay. So we have to add 3 more columns for question 4. Because in order to calculate the profits, we have to know the cost, right? Revenue and the profits. So profits that is equal to revenue minus cost, as you may know already, right? So revenue minus cost, that is the profits. In order to calculate the average profits over the 10 periods, you have to find the total and then divide by 10. Okay. So we have the random numbers and the numbers of pizza sales already. So for the cost here, that is equal to the supply for each day times the cost. Okay, supplies for each day, that is equal to here 5, right? Cost of each pizza, that's 5, so that is 5 times 5, okay, equal to 25. And because that is all fixed for each day, so that is all equal to 25. So that is the cost, okay? So for the revenue, that is also simple. Numbers of pizza sales times the selling price. Selling price, that is equal to 10, right? So for $10. So we have 3 pizza sales for the first day. 3 times 10, that is 30. Okay, so for the profits, revenue minus cost, that is equal to 5, right? 30 minus 25. But for the second day, that is, you have to be careful because as you can see for here, we have 6 pizza cells, right? But as you can see for the questions, we only can supply 5 pizza. We only have the 5 pizza supply fixed. So although we have 6 pizza cells, that is from the simulations, but actually in reality, we only have 5 and times 10, right? So that is equal to 50. Okay, so for the profits, that is also 50 minus 25 equal to 25. And then you can have the following calculations, right? 50, 40, 40. Okay, so for the profits, that is also the same. Simple calculations. So as you can see for the 8 days, we have the negative profits, right? Because revenue that is lower than the cost, and that is okay. That is okay for us to have the negative profits. Alright, so for after calculating all these, we finish this table. So we can calculate the average profit too. We have to calculate it, otherwise we will lose the mark. Okay, profits. So add all these profits together and divide by 10 also. So simple, add all these together. You can list out the equations to the formulas as well to show the steps. So after you calculated all these, you can have the 14 average profits. Okay. So that is question 4. Can you all follow for this one? Okay, so that is all for tutorial 10, and I will talk about the assignment 3 and exam as well. As you may know that for the assignment 3, that is very difficult, and many students ask me like for the late submission or don't know how to do, right? But after this discussion from the lecturer, they decided that because most of the students do not know how to do assignment 3, and that is okay because the curve there is already very low. Alright, so you do not have to worry about that, or because that is quite difficult and quite complicated for the assignment 3. Alright, so that is assignment 3. We will grade it and release the results later. Okay, so for the exam, as you can know that the timetable and the venue that is already released, right? As you can see that you're not examined in the computer room, you're examined in, so it's mostly that is written exam instead of using the computers. You can write down, or you have to calculate it by hand. So calculators, that is also very important, right? So someone may ask me that, we do not have to use computers for the exam, so we do not have to revise on the software or the computer's function, right? I think majority that is written by hand, but some questions may ask you about the functions or the computers or the software function too. So you also have to revise it. You can't skip all the software or the computer's functions. Okay, so that is all for today's tutorial. So if you have any questions about tutorial 9 or tutorial 10, you can come to ask me. Okay, so I will see you in the next tutorial.